Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a way of thinking that can get you unstuck from pretty much any problem. Whether it's a creative block, a tricky business challenge, or even just a good old-fashioned puzzle.
All right, let's just dive right in with a puzzle that seems really simple on the surface, but trust me, it reveals a whole lot about how our minds work.
Okay, so take a good look at this shape on your screen. It's just a simple L shape, right? Made up of 3 equal squares.
Here's the question. How can you cut this shape into only 2 pieces and then rearrange those 2 pieces to form a perfect square? Go ahead and pause if you want to give it a shot. Feeling a little stuck? Yeah, that's kind of the point. If the answer isn't jumping out at you, you are definitely not alone. And that feeling is exactly what we're here to talk about. But don't worry, we will come back to the solution.
So why do puzzles like this trip us up so easily? Well, it really comes down to our brain's default operating system. You see, our brains are built to be efficient, to find patterns, and create these little mental shortcuts. But those same shortcuts can trap us on a single track when what we really need is a new destination.
See, our default mode is what we call vertical thinking. It's logical, it's step by step, and it's fantastic for building on ideas we already have. It takes the most likely path from A to B. But when that path is a dead end, vertical thinking just keeps us banging our heads against the same wall. The alternative is lateral thinking. It's more creative, it's about making new connections. And this visual right here, it really gets to the heart of the problem. Our brain is just wired to follow that straight, direct path. But when that leads nowhere, lateral thinking is what allows us to see all the other routes. It's about deliberately exploring the side roads.
So to escape this trap, we need a totally different approach. We have to consciously learn how to think sideways. And this is what we're talking about. Now, lateral thinking isn't about being illogical or just random. It's actually a deliberate process of breaking out of our usual thought patterns so we can create new ones and see the problem in a completely different light. When you boil it all down, lateral thinking is really about one key thing: challenging your assumptions. It's about asking yourself, what are the unspoken rules I'm following here? And, even more important, well, what happens if I break them? Because that is where the breakthroughs happen.
Okay, enough theory, let's actually put this into practice. We're going back to that L-shaped puzzle because it is a perfect way to see these principles in action. So, remember this little guy? The big assumption, that vertical thinking trap, is that you have to make cuts that are straight and follow the lines of the shape. But if you try that, you're going to find out pretty quick that it leads absolutely nowhere. So here's how the lateral solution actually works. First, and this is the most important part, you have to challenge the assumption that the cut has to follow the grid. Then, you make one diagonal cut, just like you see here. And finally, you just take those 2 new pieces and reposition them. That's it. And boom, there it is. That's the aha moment, a perfect square. You see, the solution was there the whole time, hidden not by how complex it was, but by our own assumptions. All it took was one different way of looking at it.
All right, you ready for another one? This next one isn't about shapes, though. It's about shifting your entire frame of reference.
Take a look at these 5 houses. Which one is the odd one out? Now, your logical brain might start comparing angles, positions, things like that. But the lateral leap is to stop seeing them as just geometric shapes and start thinking about what they represent. 4 of them are just structures, right? They're houses. But the one with the chimney? Well, that implies warmth, a fire, life. It's a home. The difference isn't visual, it's conceptual. And look, this is way more than just a fun party trick for puzzles. It's an incredibly powerful tool that you can use to solve real-world problems in your life and at work.
I mean, think about it. The next time you're in a brainstorming session at work, or you're just staring at a problem you've tried to solve a dozen times, ask yourself this: what's the straight line cut that everyone assumes we have to make here? And then deliberately look for the diagonal one. So, if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this simple but powerful habit. Question your first approach. The first solution that pops into your head is almost always a product of that logical, vertical thinking. The truly innovative answer, that might be the 3rd or the 4th or even the 10th idea you have.
So, to wrap things up, I want to leave you with a chance to practice this for yourself.
Take a look at this next image. With this one, there's no single right answer. The only goal is to ask yourself, now that I'm thinking laterally, what do I see?
Maybe you see a map, maybe an animal, maybe just a random ink blot. It honestly doesn't matter what you see. What matters is that you're practicing looking beyond that first obvious impression. The next great solution to a really tough problem is almost never the most obvious one. It's usually hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to decide to think sideways. So the only question left is, what will you unlock when you do?